All right, we have 3 minutes. Who are the 24 elders mentioned in Revelation chapter 4?
Okay. The options that you get, the Bible doesn't flatly say who they are. The options that you get are, and this was my first thought when I read the book of Revelation in chapter 4 and saw these 24 guys seated on thrones. I'm like, okay, obviously these are big shots, and they're called elders, and so it makes sense that they would be the 12 and 12. You got 12 apostles. You got 12 tribes in the Old Testament. So maybe that's the elders of the tribes of Israel, whoever that would be, and could be Reuben and Gad and the actual guys. That kind of situation. And then the 12 apostles. One of the problems with that, though, is that the guy who sees the 24 elders is one of the 12 apostles. And so, if I was writing the book, I'd say, yeah, I saw the 24 elders, and there I was sitting there. It's kind of a weird thing.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't. I obviously I ditched that idea, and here's what I came up with. There is, and this I got this from other guys and reading and stuff like that, but it actually comes out of the Bible. And so in Revelation chapter 5, it says in verse 8, "Now when he had taken the scroll, the 4 living creatures and the 24 elders fell down before the Lamb, each having a harp and golden bowls full of incense, which are the prayers of the saints. And they sang a new song, saying, 'You are worthy to take the scroll and to open its seals.' And then it says, 'For you were slain,'" that's talking about Jesus, he died for them, "'and you have redeemed us to God by your blood.'" So these are people who were redeemed by Jesus. "Out of every tribe and tongue and people and nation," and so that does not confine them to Judaism, "and have, by the way, all 24 elders, if it was the apostles, would be Jews." Okay. If it was the apostles and the patriarchs, they would be Jews, right? And so they're not all Jews. So out of every tribe and tongue and people and nation, and have made us kings and priests to our God, and we shall reign on the earth. Kings and priests is something that the Bible calls Christians in the book of 1 Peter. And so we're a holy nation, a kingdom of priests, is what the Bible teaches. That was offered to the Jews in Exodus chapter 19, and they refused it. And because they didn't want to be the priests. They said, "Moses, you go and talk to the Lord," and that's where you get the Levitical priesthood. So what you have is 24 guys who are seated on thrones. That means they're ruling. They have white robes. That's a picture of righteousness. They have crowns. That's a picture of rewards on their heads. And they're casting the crowns before the throne of Jesus and saying, "You are worthy, O Lord, to receive glory and honor and power." And so they're recognizing that the reason that they got rewards is because of what Jesus had done, of what God had done. And so that looks like the church. Here's another thing. The only place that 24 is mentioned is in a place where it's not mentioned. It's in 1 Chronicles chapter 24. That's convenient. And in that passage, it talks about the 24 courses of the priesthood. And it goes through and lists them. And it doesn't list them and say number 1 is, number 2 is, and 24. It just lists 24 courses of the priesthood, and that's how the priesthood was divided up. And so this is a Jewish book, Revelation is. And so when you say 24 elders to Jews who were living at the time when Revelation was written, they remember the temple and the 24 courses of the priesthood. And when you had 24 elders there, the whole priesthood is represented. And so this is the idea that would contain the idea that these redeemed people from every tribe and tongue and people and nation who are crowned and who are sitting on thrones, ruling and reigning with the Lord. That's the whole point of that. And there's 24 courses, a group of 24 of them. That brings up the 24 courses of the priesthood. You got kings and priests sitting there, and they flat out call themselves kings and priests in the passage, and that's all pointing toward the church. And so I see the 24 elders as a representation of the church in heaven before Christ, before the Lord. And, and I'm not just making that symbolic. There's a lot of symbolism in there. There may actually be 24 guys who've come to Jesus over the last 2,000 years who are the elders that are represented there. And I have no doubt that some of them, you could have apostles there, you could have whoever there, John Aquinas or, all kinds of guys.
Yeah.
So, yep.
Awesome.